Okay, yeah, I think we are now. We should be streaming live on YouTube. Hi, welcome. I'm Paul Sugarman of the Instant Shakespeare Company. And today we're presenting our final reading of 2021, Dear Brutus by J.M. Barrie, that Stephen Brown is the playmaster for. So I'm very excited to learn about this play that I didn't know. And so over to you, Stephen.
Thank you, Paul. Dear Brutus. Barrie took the title of this play from a quote from Julius Caesar of Shakespeare. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. What he was implying was that everyone should take greater personal responsibilities for the way their lives have turned out. The play is actually a precursor of J.B. Priestley's time plays or Alan Ayckbourn's comic meditations on change. Barrie dramatizes his own obsession with innocence, as he did in Peter Pan. It takes place in a magic garden. In fact, the garden it takes place in is Barrie's own childhood garden, which still exists and is now a museum in Dumfries, Scotland. The play was inspired at the same time as Peter Pan, which he described in 1904 as an enchanted land. And that is what he wrote about Peter Pan. And at the same time, he was thinking about, as children live on Peter Pan on the island, in Peter Pan Never Never Land, about what would happen to adults in the same place. It's the garden of a Georgian house that he had grown up in, with a nursery described as accurately in the Peter Pan stage directions. This play was written almost 10 years after Peter Pan in 1960. And it was first performed in 1917. He wrote it during a time of fear, austerity, and political upheaval all across Europe, with World War I going on and on the verge of what would be the great influenza pandemic of 1918. But also, he was going through a very difficult time in his own life when he wrote this play. Marriage had broken down. I can hear music. If we could please make sure that everybody is muted and we don't hear that music. Thank you.
Julie, I think that's you.
Not me. I think it's a friend of mine who is on.
Ah, it's just that your name pops up.
I know.
I don't know why.
Okay, I'm going to finish up and then we can begin, which is, as I said, he was going through a very difficult personal time. His own marriage was in the process of breaking down at that point. And it's the garden. The garden is the enchanted land, and it belongs to a character who is named in the play as Robin Goodfellow, or Puck, of A Midsummer Night's Dream. It takes place on Midsummer Eve, and the character of Robin Goodfellow, called by Barrie here Lob, is the master of ceremonies over these events that overtake a group of people that he has gathered. It's about making decisions in life. The moral of the story, according to Barrie, is it is not about second chances or regrets, but it's about making the most of what you have learned from the decisions that you did make. And with that note, I will go and I will ask our ladies to begin.
Go on, Cody. Lead the way.
I don't see why I should go first.
The nicest always go first.
It's a strange house if I'm the nicest.
It is a strange house.
Don't close the door. I can't see where the switch is.
Here.
We must not waste a second. Our minds are made up, I think.
Now is the time.
Oh, yes, now if at all. But should we?
Certainly, and before the men come in.
You don't think we should wait for the men? They are as much in it as we are.
Lob would be with them. If the thing is to be done at all, it should be done now.
It's quite fair to Lob. After all, he is our host.
Of course it isn't fair to him, but let's do it, Cody.
Yes, let's do it.
Mrs. Sturth is doing it.
Of course I am. The men are not coming, are they?
No, your husband is having another glass of port.
I am sure he is. One of you ring, please.
Poor matey.
He richly deserves what he's about to get.
He is coming. Don't all stand huddled together like conspirators.
It's what we are.
Ah, matey. I wish this telegram sent.
Oh, very good, ma'am. The village post office closed at 8, but if your message is important...
It is. And you are so clever, matey. I am sure that you can persuade them to oblige you.
I will see to it myself, mum. You can depend on its going.
Thank you. Better read the telegram, matey, to be sure that you can make it out. Read it aloud, matey.
Oh, mum.
Aloud.
To police station, Great Cumney. Send officer first thing tomorrow morning to arrest matey, butler, for theft of rings.
Yes, that is quite right.
Mum, my lady.
Should we not say how many rings?
Yes, put in the number of rings, matey.
May I tear up the telegram, mum?
Certainly not.
I always said that this man was the culprit. I am never mistaken in faces, and I see broad arrows all over yours, matey.
It is deeply regretted.
I am sure it is.
We may as well tell him now that it is not our rings we are worrying about. They have just been a means to an end, matey.
Precisely. In other words, that telegram is sent unless...
Unless you can tell us instantly what peculiarity it is we all ladies have in common.
Oh, not only the ladies, all the guests in this house.
We have been here a week, and we find that when Lob invited us, he knew us all so little that we begin to wonder why he asked us. And now, from words he has let drop, we know that we were invited because of something he thinks we have in common.
But he won't say what it is.
And we can't sleep at night, matey, not till we find out.
One knows that no people could be more unlike.
One does.
You must admit that your master is a very strange person. Oh.
I don't know what you mean, ladies.
Oh, yes, you do.
Well, he is a little odd, mum. That is why everyone calls him Lob, but not Mr. Lob.
He is so odd that he has got on my nerves that we have been invited here for some sort of horrid experiment. You look as if you thought so too.
No, miss. You shouldn't have come, ladies. You didn't ought to have come.
Ah, my man, what do you mean by that?
Well, nothing, my lady. I just mean, why did you come if you are the kind he thinks?
The kind he thinks?
What kind does he think? Now we are getting at it.
I haven't a notion, mum.
Then it is not necessarily our virtue that makes Rob interested in us.
No, my lady. Oh, no, my lady.
Oh,
Yet you know he's rather lovable.
He is, mum. He is the most lovable old devil. I beg pardon, mum.
You scarce need to, for in a way it is true. I have seen him out there among his flowers, petting them, talking to them, coaxing them till they simply had to grow.
It is certainly a divine garden.
How lovely it is in the moonlight. Roses, roses all the way. It is like a hat I once had when I was young.
Lob is such an amazing gardener that I believe he could even grow hats.
He is a wonderful gardener, but is that quite nice at his age? What is his age, man?
Well, he won't tell, my lady. I think he is frightened that the police would step in if they knew how old he is. They do say in the village that they remember him 70 years ago, looking just as he does today.
Absurd.
Yes, mum, but there are his razors.
Razors?
Well, you won't know about razors, my lady, not being married as yet, excuse me. But a married lady can tell a man's age by the number of his razors. If you saw his razors, there is a little world of them, from patents of the present day back to implements so horrible you can picture him with them in his hands, scraping his way through the ages.
You amuse one to an extent. Was he ever married?
Well, he has quite forgotten, my lady. How long ago is it since Merry England?
Why do you ask?
in Queen Elizabeth's time, wasn't it?
Well, he says he is all that is left of Merry England. that little man.
Lob? I think there is a famous cricketer called Lob.
There are Lob and Shakespeare. No, I'm thinking of Robin Goodfellow.
The names are so alike.
Robin Goodfellow was Puck.
That's what was in my head. Lob was another name for Puck.
Well, he is certainly rather like what Puck might have grown into if he had forgotten to die. And by the way, I remember now he does call his flowers by the old Elizabethan names.
Well, he always calls the nightingale Philomel, miss, if that is any help.
None whatever. Tell me this. Did he specially ask you all for Midsummer Week?
Yes.
Yes.
He would.
Mean.
Well, he always likes them to be here on Midsummer Night, Mum.
Them? Whom?
Them who have that in common.
What can it be?
I don't know.
I hope we are all nice women. We don't know each other very well. Does anything startling happen at those times?
I don't know.
And I believe this is Midsummer's Eve.
Yes, miss, it is. The villagers know it. They are all inside their houses tonight with the doors barred.
Because of him?
He frightens them. Oh, there are stories.
What alarms them? Tell us, or?
Well, I know nothing for certain, Mum. I have never done it myself. Oh, he has wanted me to, but I wouldn't.
Done what?
Oh, Mum, don't ask me. Be merciful to me, Mum. I am not bad naturally. It was just going into domestic service that did for me. The accident of being flung among bad companions. It's touch and go how the poor turn out in this world. All depends on your taking the right or the wrong turning.
Dare say that is true.
When I was young, Mum, I was offered a clerkship in the city. If I had taken it, there wouldn't be a more honest man alive today. I would give the world to be able to begin over again.
It is very sad, Mrs. Dareth.
I am sorry for him, but still.
What do you say, my lady?
As you asked me, I should certainly say jail.
Well, if you will say no more about this, ma'am, I'll give you a tip that is worth it.
Ah, now you are talking.
Don't listen to him.
You are the one that is hardest on me.
Yes, I flatter myself I am.
You might take a wrong turning yourself, milady.
I? How dare you, ma'am?
The men are rising.
Very well. Matey, we agree. If the tip is good enough.
You will regret this.
I think not, milady. It's this. I wouldn't go out tonight if he asks you. Go into the garden if you like. The garden is all right. I wouldn't go farther. Not tonight.
He never proposes to us to go farther. Why should he tonight?
I don't know, mum, but don't any of you go. Except you, milady. I should like you to go.
Hello?
Shall I?
Thank you, mum.
You should have sent that telegram off.
Are sure you have told us all you know, matey?
Well, yes, miss. Above all, ladies, I wouldn't go into the wood.
Wood? Why, there's no wood within a dozen miles of here.
No, mum. But all the same, I wouldn't go into it, ladies. Not if I was you.
Standing, dear lady, pray be seated.
You monkey.
It's quite a flirtation, isn't it?
Husband still sampling the port, Mr. Purdy?
Yeah, I believe it is. Do the ladies like our proposal, Cody?
I've not told them of it yet. The fact is, I'm afraid that it might tire my wife too much. Do you feel equal to a little exertion tonight, Cody, or is your foot troubling you?
No, Cody, I've been resting it.
There. Is that more comfortable? Presently, dear, if you are agreeable, we are all going out for a walk.
Yes, let's go into the garden.
Ah, but it is not to be the garden. We are going farther afield. We have an adventure for tonight. Get thick shoes and a wrap, Mr. Diarth, all of you. Did we lose Paula?
Oh, where do you propose to take us?
To find a mysterious wood.
A wood?
Are you being funny, Mr. Purdy? You know quite well that there are not any trees for miles around. You have said so yourself that it is one blot on the landscape.
On ordinary occasions, but allow us to point out to you, Miss Joanna, that this is Midsummer Eve.
Tell them what you told us, Lob.
That's all nonsense, of course. Just foolish talk of the villagers. They say that on Midsummer Eve there is a strange wood in this part of the country.
Where?
Ah, that is one of the most charming features. It is never twice in the same place, apparently. It has been seen on different parts of the Down and on Moor Common. Once it was close to Radley village, at another time about a mile from the sea. Oh, sporting wood.
Lob is anxious that we should all go and look for it.
Not he. Lob is the only skeptic in the house. Says it's all rubbish and that we shall be silly if we go. But we believe, eh, Purdy?
Rather.
Just wasting the evening. Let us have a round game at cards here.
No, sir, I'm going to find that wood.
What is the good of it when it is found?
We shall wander in it deliciously, listening to a new sort of bird called the philomel.
Shall we keep together, Mr. Purdy?
No, we must hunt in pairs.
I think it would be rather fun. Come on, Cody. I'll lace your boots for you. I'm sure your poor foot will carry you nicely.
Miss Trout, wait a moment. Lob, has this wonderful wood any special properties?
No wood.
You've never seen it?
Not I. I don't believe in it.
Have any of the villagers ever been in it?
Oh, so it's said. So it is said.
What did they say were their experiences?
Now that isn't known. They never came back.
Never came back?
Absurd, of course. You see, in the morning the wood was gone, and so they were gone too.
I don't think I like this wood.
Certainly is Midsummer Eve.
Of course, if you ladies are against it, we will drop the idea. It was only a bit of fun.
Yes, better give it up to please Lob.
Oh, all right, Lob. What about that round game of cards?
I wanted you to go. I mean, I had set my heart on your going. It is the thing I wanted. And it isn't good for me not to get the thing I want.
Good gracious, he wanted it all the time. You wicked Lob.
No, you see, there is something in it.
Nonsense, Mrs. Durth. It was only a joke.
Don't cry.
Nobody cares for me. Nobody loves me. And I need to be loved.
Yes, we do. We all love you. Nice, nice, Lobby.
Dear Lob, I am so fond of you.
Dry his eyes with my own handkerchief.
Don't pamper him.
I need to be pampered.
You funny little man. Let us all go and look for his wood.
Boots and cloaks, hats forward. Come on, Lady Caroline, just to show you are not afraid of Matey.
Poor bruised one. It was I who hurt you. Lob is so sorry. Lie there. Oh, pretty, pretty. Let me see where you have a pain. You fell on your head. Is this the place? Now I make it better. Oh, little rascal, you are not hurt at all. You just pretend. Oh, dear, dear. Sweetheart, don't cry. You are now prettier than ever. You were too tall. Oh, how beautifully you smell now that you are small. Drink, drink. Now you are happy again. The little rascal smiles. All smile, please, not heads. Ah, ha, ha. Oh, you love Lob. Lob loves you.
What were you saying to them, Lob?
I was saying two's company, three's none.
That man, he suspects.
No one minds, Lob. My dear, oh my dear.
Yes, but he saw you kiss my hand, Jack. If Mabel were to suspect.
There is nothing for her to suspect.
No, there isn't, is there? Jack, I'm not doing anything wrong, am I?
You.
Mabel is your wife, Jack. I should so hate myself if I did anything that was disloyal to her.
Those eyes could never be disloyal, my lady of the nut-brown eyes. Oh, the speltness of you. Joanna, why are you so spelt?
All I want is to help her and you.
I know. How well I know, my dear, brave love.
I am very fond of Mabel, Jack. I should like to be the best friend she has in the world.
You are, dearest. No woman had a better friend.
Yet I don't think she really likes me. I wonder why.
It is just that Mabel doesn't understand. Nothing could make me say a word against my wife.
I wouldn't listen to you if you did.
I love you all the more, dear, for saying that. But Mabel is a cold nature and she doesn't understand.
She doesn't appreciate your finer qualities.
That's it. But of course, I am difficult. I was always a strange creature. I often think, Joanna, that I am rather like a flower that has never had the sun to shine upon it, nor the rain to water it.
You break my heart.
I suppose there is no more lonely man than I was walking the earth today.
It is so mournful.
It is the thought of you that sustains me, elevates me. You shine high above me like a star.
Oh, no. I wish I was that wonderful, but I am not.
You have made me a better man, Joanna.
Oh, I'm so proud to think that.
You have made me kinder to Mabel.
I am sure you are always kind to her.
Oh, yes, I hope so. But I now think of special little ways of giving her pleasure, that never-to-be-forgotten day when we first met, you and I.
That tragic, lovely day by the weir. Oh, Jack.
You know how, in gratitude, I spent the rest of that day?
Tell me.
I read to Mabel aloud for an hour. I did it out of kindness for her, because I had met you.
It was dear of you.
You remember that first time my arms, your waist, it was so fluid, Joanna. Why are you so fluid?
I can't help it, Jack.
I gave her a ruby bracelet for that.
It is a gem. You have given that lucky woman many lovely things.
It's my invariable custom to go straight off and buy Mabel something whenever you have been sympathetic to me. Are those new earrings of hers? They are in memory of the first day you called me Jack. Her Pekin gown, the one with the beads, was because you let me kiss you.
I didn't exactly let you.
No, but you have such a dear way of giving in.
Jack, she hasn't worn that gown of late.
No, nor the good jewels. I think she has some sort of idea now that when I give her anything nice, it means that you have been nice to me. She has a rather suspicious nature, Mabel. She never used to have it, but it seems to be growing on her. I wonder why. I wonder why.
Was there anyone in the garden?
There's no one there now.
I am sure I heard someone. If it was Mabel. Jack, if she saw us, she will think you were kissing me.
I am so sorry to interrupt you, Jack, but please wait a moment before you kiss her again. Excuse me, Joanna. I did not want the others to see you. They might not understand how noble you are, Jack. You can go on now.
How extraordinary! Of all that... but how contemptible! Mabel!
Did you call me, Joanna?
I insist upon an explanation. What were you doing in the garden, Mabel?
I was looking for something I have lost.
Anything important?
Well, I used to fancy it, Jack. It is my husband's love. You don't happen to have picked it up, Joanna. If so, and you don't set great store by it, I should like it back. The pieces, I mean.
Mabel, I will not be talked to in that way, to imply that your husband... Shame!
I must say, Mabel, that I am little disappointed in you. I certainly understood that you had gone upstairs to put on your boots.
Oh, poor old Jack. A woman like that.
I forgive you, Mabel. You will be sorry for that afterwards.
Not a word against Joanna, Mabel. If you knew how nobly she has spoken of you.
Well, she does know. She has been listening.
This is a man's business. I must be open with you now, Mabel. It is the manlier way. If you wish it, I shall always be true to you in word and deed. It is your right. But I cannot pretend that Joanna is not the one woman in the world for me. If I had met her before you, it's kismet, I suppose.
Too late. Too late.
I suppose you never knew what true love was till you met her, Jack?
You forced me to say it. Joanna and I are as one person. We have not a thought at variance. We are one rather than two.
Yes, and that's the one. I am so sorry to have marred your lives.
If any blame there is, it is all mine. She is as spotless as the driven snow. The moment I mentioned love to her, she told me to desist.
Oh, not she.
So you were listening. Mabel, don't you see how splendid he is?
Not quite, Joanna.
How lovely of you, Jack, to take it all upon yourself.
Well, this is the man's privilege.
Mabel has such a horrid way of seeming to put people in the wrong.
Have you noticed that? Poor Mabel, it is not an enviable quality.
I don't think I care to go out now. She has spoilt it all. She has taken the innocence out of it, Jack.
We must be brave and not mind her. Ah, Joanna, if we had met in time, if only I could begin again. To be battered forever just because I once took the wrong turning, it isn't fair.
The wrong turning. Now, who was saying that a moment ago? About himself. Oh, why, it was Matey.
Is that her coming back again? Oh, it's too bad. Ah, it is you, Mrs. Diath.
Yes, it is. But thank you for telling me, Mr. Purdy. I don't intrude, do I?
Why should you?
Rather not. We were hoping it would be you. We want to start on our walk. I can't think what has become of the others. We've been looking for them everywhere.
Well, do go on looking. Under that flower pot would be a good place. It is my husband I am in search of.
Shall I rout him out for you?
Well, too unutterably kind of you, Mr. Purdy. I hate to trouble you, but it would be the sort of service one never forgets.
You know, I believe you are chaffing me.
No, I am incapable of that.
I won't be a moment.
Miss Trout and I will await your return with ill-concealed impatience. Yes, I suppose you are right. I dare say I am.
I didn't say anything.
I thought I heard you say, that hateful Diath woman, coming butting in where she's not wanted.
You certainly have good ears.
Yes, they have always been rather admired.
By the painters for whom you sat when you were an artist model?
So, that has leaked out, has it?
I shouldn't have said that.
Do you think I care whether you know or not?
No, I'm sure you don't. Still, it was cattish of me.
It was.
I don't see it.
I am uncommonly flattered, Alice, to hear that you have sent for me. It quite takes me aback.
It isn't your company I want, Will.
Oh, you know I felt that Purdy must have delivered your message wrongly.
I want you to come with us on this mysterious walk and keep an eye on Lob.
Poor little Lob? Oh, surely not.
I can't make the man out. I want you to tell me something. When he invited us here, do you think it was you or me he specially wanted?
Oh, you. He made no bones about it. Said there was something about you that made him want uncommonly to have you down here.
Will, try to remember this. Did he ask us for any particular time?
Yes. He was particular about its being Midsummer Week.
Ah, I thought so. Did he say what it was about me that made him want to have me here in Midsummer Week?
No, but I presumed it must be your fascination, Alice.
Just so. Well, I want you to come out with us tonight to watch him.
In my eye, Tommy, spy on my host! And such a honest little chap, too, excuse me. Alice, besides, I have An engagement.
An engagement? To the Port-Decanter, I presume.
A good guess, but wrong. The decanter is now but an empty shell. Still, how you know me? My engagement is with a quiet cigar in the garden.
Your hand is so unsteady, you won't be able to light the match.
I shall manage.
Nice hand for an artist.
Oh, scarcely call me an artist nowadays.
Not as far as any work is concerned.
Not so far as having any more pretty dreams to paint is concerned. Wonder why I have become such a waster, Alice?
I suppose it was always in you.
I suppose so. Yet I was a rather good sort in the days when I went courting you.
Yes, I thought so. Unlucky days for me, as it has turned out.
Yes, a bad job for you. I didn't know I was wrong, and that time thought quite well of myself, thought a vast deal more of you. Crack in my eye, Tommy, how I used to leap out of bed at 6 a.m. all agog at my easel. Blood ran through my veins in those days, and now I'm middle-aged and done for. Funny. Don't you know how it has come about, nor what has made the music mute? When did you begin to despise me, Alice?
When I got to know you, really, Will. A long time ago.
Yes. I think that is true. It was a long time ago before I had begun to despise myself. It wasn't till I knew you had no opinion of me that I began to go downhill. You will grant me that, won't you? That I did try for a bit to fight on. If you had cared for me, I wouldn't have come to this. Surely?
Well, I found I didn't care for you, and I wasn't hypocrite enough to pretend I did. That's blunt, but you used to admire my bluntness.
The bluntness of you. The adorable wildness of you, you untamed thing. There were never any shades in you. Kiss or kill was your motto, Alice. I felt from the first moment I saw you that you would love me or knife me.
I didn't knife you.
I suppose that was where you made the mistake. It is hard on you, old lady. Suppose it's too late to try to patch things up.
Let's be honest. It is too late, Will. Perhaps if we had had children. Pity. I think that was your line, Dominic.
Perhaps, yes, if we did have children, yes.
A blessing, I should think, seeing what sort of a father they would have had.
I dare say you're right. Well, Alice, I know that somehow it's my fault. I'm sorry for you.
I'm sorry for myself. If I hadn't married you, what a different woman I should be. What a fool I was.
Three things they say come back to men nor women. The spoken word, the past life, and the neglected opportunity. Wonder if we should make any more of them, Alice, if they did come back to us.
You wouldn't.
Yes, you're right.
But I...
Yes, what a boon for you. But I hope it's not Freddie Finchfallow, who you would put in my place. I know he is following you about again.
He followed me about, as you put it, before I knew you. Don't know why I quarreled with him.
The heart told you that he was no good, Alice.
My heart told me that you were. So it wasn't of much service to me, my heart.
The Honorable Freddie Finchfallow is a rotter.
You are certainly an authority on the subject.
Here they are.
You have, and let me say one more thing, you have me there. After, with brief but pleasant little connubial chat, you pursued his dishonored into the garden. Ah, Bob!
Ah, here they are. Are you ready, dear lady?
Are you not coming, Mr. Death?
Alas, I am unavoidably detained. You will find me in the garden when you come back.
If we ever do come back.
Precisely. Should we never meet again, Alice, fare thee well. Purdy, if you find the tree of knowledge in the wood, bring me back an apple.
Well, I promise.
Come quickly. Matey mustn't see me.
Matey, what difference would that make, Lob?
He would take me off to bed. It's past my time.
You know, old fellow, you make it very difficult for us to embark upon this adventure in the proper eerie spirit.
Well, I'm for the garden.
How now, Diarth?
What is it we get in that wood, Lob?
Oh, he won't tell us that.
Come on.
Tell us first.
They say that in the wood you get what nearly everybody here is longing for. A second chance.
So that is what we have in common.
I've often thought, Cody, that if I had a second chance, I should be a useful man instead of just a nice, lazy one.
Second chance.
Come on.
Yes, to the wood, to the wood.
Stop! Why not go this way? Anyone ready to risk it?
Of course, there's nothing in it, just...
Of course! Going out, Purdy?
A second chance.
I shall be back in a moment. Probably.
He does not come back.
It is horrible. I'm going to my room. Come, dear.
Mabel?
You will have to go now, Mr. Purdy.
That's enough. Don't you go, Mrs. Diaz. You'll catch it if you do.
A second chance.
I would like to know.
Cody?
It is past your bedtime, sir. Say good night to the ladies and come along.
Oh, matey, look.
But, great heavens! Then it's true.
Yes, but I wasn't sure.
Is it not a lovely night, Jim? Listen, my own, to Philomel. He's saying that he is lately married. So are we, you ducky thing. I feel, Jim, that I am Rosalind and that you are my Orlando.
What do you say I am, Caroline?
Oh, my own one. Don't you think it would be fun if we were to write poems about each other and pin them on the tree trunks?
Poems? I never knew such a lass for high-flown language.
Your lass, dearest. Jim's lass.
And don't you forget it.
What would you do if I were to forget it, Great Bear?
Take a stick to you?
Oh, I love to hear you talk like that. It is so virile. I always knew that it was a master I needed.
It's what you all need.
It is. It is, you knowing wretch.
Listen, Caroline. That is what gets the ladies.
How much have you made this week, you wonderful man?
Oh, another 200 or so. That's all, just 200 or so.
Oh, my dear golden fetter. Listen to him. Kiss my fetter, Jim.
Wait till I light this cigar.
Let me hold the darling match.
A tidy-looking petite Corona, this. There was a time when one of that sort would have run away with 2 days of my screw.
Oh, how I should have loved, Jim, to know you when you were poor. Fancy your having once been a clerk.
We all have our beginnings. It wouldn't have mattered how I began, Caroline. I should have come to the top just the same. I am a climber, and there are nails in my boots for the parties beneath me. Boots, I tell you, if I had been a bootmaker, I should have been the first bootmaker in London.
I'm sure you would, Jim. But should you have made the best boots?
Very good. Caroline, that is the nearest thing I have heard you say. But it's late. We had best be strolling back to our Rolls Royce.
I do hope the ground wasn't damp.
It doesn't matter if it was. I was lying on your rug. Who is the mournful party?
I wonder, sir, whether you happen to have seen my husband. I've lost him in the wood.
Well, we are strangers in these parts ourselves, missus. Have we passed anyone, Caroline?
Should we have noticed, dear? Oh, might it be that old gent over there?
No, my husband is quite young.
If you were the only girl in the world, and I were the only boy.
It seems a merry old cock. Evening to you, sir. Do you happen to have seen a young gentleman in the wood lately, all by himself and looking for his wife?
Can't say I have.
He isn't necessarily by himself, and I don't know that he is looking for me. There may be a young lady with him. What do you mean by that?
Oh, if you like that better.
Now, your manners, Caroline.
Would he be singing or dancing?
Oh, no. At least I hope not.
Hope not. Odd. If he's doing neither, I'm not likely to notice him. But if I do, what name shall I say?
Purdy. I am Mrs. Purdy.
I will try to keep a lookout, and if I see him, but I'm rather occupied at present. Oh, no, we're the only girl in the world.
I am sorry I troubled you. I see him now.
Is he alone? Ah, I see from your face that he isn't.
Oh, Caroline, no awkward questions. Evening, missus, and I hope you will get him to go along with you quietly. Oh, watch the old codger dancing. Ha ha!
No, and no, and no. I don't know you nearly well enough for that. Besides, what would your wife say? I shall begin to think you are a very dreadful man, Mr. Purdy.
Surely you might call me Jack by this time.
Oh, perhaps, if you are very good, Jack.
Oh, if only Joanna were more like you.
Like me? Oh, you mean her face? It is well, it's not precisely pretty. It is a good face. I don't mind her face at all. I am glad you have got such a dependable little wife, Jack.
Thanks.
What would Joanna have said if she had seen you just now?
A wife should be incapable of jealousy.
Joanna, jealous? But has she any reason? Jack, tell me, who is the woman?
Shall I, Mabel? Shall I?
I can't think who she is. Have I ever seen her?
Every time you look into a mirror.
How odd, Jack. That can't be. When I look in a mirror, I see only myself.
How adorably innocent you are, Mabel. Joanna would have guessed it once.
Not that.
Shall I tell you now?
I don't know. I'm not sure, Jack. Try not to say it. But if you feel you must, say it in such a way that it would not hurt the feelings of Joanna if she happened to be passing by, as she nearly always is.
Well, I'd rather not say it at all than that way. I don't know, Mabel, whether you have noticed that I am not like other men. All my life, I've been a soul that has had to walk alone. Even as a child, I had no hope that it would be otherwise. I distinctly remember when I was 6, thinking how unlike other children I was. Before I was 12, I suffered from terrible self-depreciation. I do so still. I suppose there was never a man who had a more lowly opinion of himself.
Jack, you who are so universally admired?
Oh, that doesn't help. I remain my own judge. I am afraid I am a dark spirit, Mabel. Yes, my dear, let me leave nothing untold, however it may damage me in your eyes. Eyes. I cannot remember a time when I did not think of love as a great consuming passion. I visualized it, Mabel, as perhaps few have done, but all was the abounding joy that could come to others, but never to me. I expected too much of women. I suppose I was touched to finer issues than most. That has been my tragedy.
Then you met Joanna.
Then I met Joanna. Yes, foolishly, as I now see. I thought she would understand that I was far too deep a nature really to mean the little things I sometimes said to her. I suppose a man was never placed in such a position before. But what was I to do? Remember, I was always certain that the ideal love could never come to me. Whatever the circumstances, I was convinced that my soul would walk alone.
Joanna, how could you?
Oh, not a word against her, Mabel. If blame there is, then the blame is mine.
And so you married her?
And so I married her.
Out of pity.
I felt it was a man's part. I was such a child in worldly matters that it was pleasant to me to have the right to pay a woman's bills. I enjoyed seeing her garments lying about on my chair. In time, that exaltation wore off. But I was not unhappy. I didn't expect much. I was always so sure that no woman could ever plumb the well of my emotions.
Then you met me.
Then I met you.
Too late. Never. Forever. Forever. Never. They are the saddest words in the English tongue.
At the time, I thought a still sadder word was Joanna.
What was it you saw in me that made you love me?
I think it was the feeling that you are so like myself.
Have you noticed that, Jack? Sometimes it has almost terrified me.
We think the same thoughts. We are not two, Mabel. We are one. Your hair.
Oh, Joanna knows you admire it. And for a week she did hers in the same way.
I never noticed.
Well, that was why she gave it up. And it didn't really suit her. I can't think of a good way of doing dear Joanna's hair. What is that you are muttering to yourself, Jack? Don't keep anything from me.
I was repeating a poem I have written. It is 2 words. Mabel Purdy. May I teach it to you, sweet? Say Mabel Purdy to me.
If I were to say it, Jack, I should be false to Joanna. Oh, never ask me to be that. Let us go on.
Say it, Mabel, say it. See, I write it on the ground with your sunshade.
Oh, if it could be. Jack, I'll whisper it to you.
Daddy, Daddy, I've won. Here's the place. Crack my eye, Tommy.
Yes, that is the tree I stuck my easel under last night, and behold the blessed moon behaving more gorgeously than ever. I am so sorry to have kept you waiting, old moon. But you ought to know by now how time passes. Now, keep still while I hand you down to posterity.
The moon is rather pale tonight, isn't she?
Comes of keeping late hours.
Daddy, watch me. Look at me. Please, sweet moon. A pleasant expression. No, no, not as if you were sitting on it. That's too professional. That's better, thank you. Now keep it. That is the sort of thing you say to them, Dad.
I oughtn't to have brought you out so late. You should be tucked up in your cozy bed at home.
With the pillow anyhow.
Except in its proper place.
And the sheet over my face.
Where it oughtn't to be.
And Daddy tiptoeing in to take it off.
Which is more than you deserve.
And why does he stand so long at the door? And before he's gone, she bursts out laughing, for she's been awake all the time.
That's about it. What a life! But I oughtn't to have brought you here. Best to have the sheet over you when the moon is about. Moonlight is bad for little daughters.
I can't sleep when the moon's at the full. She keeps calling to me to get up. Perhaps I am her daughter too.
God. You look it tonight.
Oh, why? Then can't you paint me into the picture as well as Mama? You could call it a mother and daughter, or simply 2 ladies. If the moon thinks that calling me her daughter would make her seem too old.
O madre pulcra filia pulcrior. That means, O moon, more beautiful than any 2-penny, half-penny daughter.
Daddy, do you really prefer her?
Shh. She's not a patch for you. It's the sort of thing we say to our sitters to keep them in good humor. I wish to heaven, Margaret, we were both so fond of apple tart. What's this?
It's a tear.
I should think it's a tear.
That boy at the farm did it. He kept calling snubs after me, but I got him down and kicked him in the stomach. He's rather a jolly boy.
He sounds it. Ye gods, what a night!
And what a moon, Dad. She's not quite so fine as that.
Shh, I have touched her up.
Dad, what a funny.
You were the only girl.
Hold me tight. I'm frightened. I think they won't take you away from me.
Oh, Gosling?
I don't know. It's too lovely, Daddy. Won't be able to keep hold of it.
What is?
The world, everything, and you, Daddy, most of all. Things that are too beautiful can't last.
Now, how did you find that out?
I don't know, Daddy. Am I sometimes stranger than other people's daughters?
More of a madcap, perhaps.
You think I am sometimes too full of gladness?
My sweetheart, you do sometimes run over with it.
To be gay, dearest dear. It is so dear to being very sad.
How did you find that out, child?
I don't know. From something in me that's afraid. Daddy, what's a might have been?
Might have been? They're ghosts, Margaret. I dare say I might have been a great swell of a painter instead of just this commonly happy nobody, or again, I might have been a worthless idle waster of a fellow. Who knows? Some little kink in me might have set me off the wrong road, and that poor soul might have so easily have had no Margaret. My word, I'm sorry for him.
So am I. The poor old daddy, wandering about the world without me.
And there are other might-have-beens, lovely ones, but intangible. Shades, Margaret, made of sad folks' thoughts.
I'm so glad I'm not a shade. How awful it would be, Daddy, to wake up and find one wasn't alive.
It would, dear.
Daddy, wouldn't it be awful? I think men need daughters.
They do.
Especially artists.
Yes, especially artists.
Especially artists.
Especially artists.
Fame is not everything.
Fame is rot. Daughters are the thing.
Daughters are the thing.
Daughters are the thing.
I wonder if sons would be even nicer.
Not a patch on daughters. The awful thing about a son is that never, at least from the day he goes to school, can you tell him you rather like him. By the time he is 10, you can't even take him on your knee. Sons are not worth having, Margaret. Signed, W. Diath.
If you were mother, Dad, I dare say he would let you do it.
I think so.
I mean, when no one was looking, sons are not so bad. Signed, M. Diath. But I'm glad you prefer daughters. At what age are we nicest, Daddy? Oh, Daddy, at what age are we nicest, Daddy? Oi, at what age are we nicest?
Hey, let's suppose. I think you were nicest when you were 2 and you knew your alphabet up to G and fell over at H. No, you were best when you were 3:30, or just before you struck 6, or in the mumps years when I asked you in the early morning how you were, and you said solemnly, I haven't tried yet.
Did I?
Such was your answer. But I'm not sure that chicken pox doesn't mean mumps. Oh, Lord, I'm all wrong. The nicest time in a father's life is the year before she puts up her hair.
I suppose that's a pleasant time. But there's a nicer year coming to you, Daddy. There's a nicer year coming to you.
Is there, darling?
Daddy, the year she does put up her hair.
Puts it up forever? You know, I'm afraid that when the day for that comes, I shan't be able to stand it. It will be too exciting, my poor heart, Margaret.
No. It will be lucky for you. For it isn't to be a bit like that. I am to be a girl and woman, day about for the first year. You will never know which I am till you look at my hair. And even then you won't know, for if it is down, I shall put it up. And if it is up, I shall put it down. And so my daddy will gradually get used to the idea.
I see you have been thinking it out.
I've been doing more than that. Shut your eyes, Dad, and I shall give you a glimpse into the future.
I don't know that I want that. The present is so good.
Shut your eyes, please.
No, Margaret.
Please, Daddy.
Oh, all right. They are shut.
Don't open them till I tell you. What finger is that?
The dirty one.
Daddy, now I'm putting up my hair. I've got such a darling of a mirror. It is such a darling mirror I've got, Dad. Dad, don't look. I shall tell you all about it. It is a little pool of water. I wish we could take it home and hang it up. Of course, the moment my hair is up, there will be other changes also. For instance, I shall talk quite differently.
Oh, where are my matches, dear?
Pocket waistcoat.
You're meaning to frighten me just now.
No, I'm just preparing you. You see, darling, I can't call you Dad when my hair is up. I think I shall call you Parent. Parent, dear. Do you remember the days when your Margaret was a slip of a girl and sat on your knee? How foolish we were, Parent, in those distant days.
Shut up, Margaret.
Now I must be more distant to you, more like a boy. You cannot sit on your knee anymore.
See here, I want to go on painting. Shall I look now?
I'm not quite sure whether I want you to. It makes such a difference. Perhaps you won't know me. Even the pool is looking a little scared. What do you think? Will I do?
Stand still, dear. Let me look my fill. The Margaret that is to be.
You'll see me often enough, Daddy, like this. So you don't need to look your fill. You'll be looking as long as if this were to be the only time.
Was I? Surely it isn't to be that.
Be gay, Dad. You will be sick of Margaret with her hair up before you are done with her.
I expect so.
Oh, Daddy. I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking what a handful she's going to be.
I guess she is.
Now you're thinking about my being in love someday.
What?
I won't, you know. No, never. Oh, I've quite decided, so don't be afraid. You hate him at first, Daddy. Daddy, will you hate him? Will you hate him, Daddy?
Whom?
Well, if there was.
If there was what, darling?
You know, the kind of thing I mean quite well. Would you hate him at first?
I hope not. You should not. You should want to strangle. I should want to strangle him, but I wouldn't hate him.
I would. Just to say if I liked him.
If you liked him, how could you hate him?
For daring.
Daring what?
You know. But of course I shall have no say in the matter. You will do it all. You do everything for me.
I can't help it.
You will even write my love letters. If I ever have them to write, which I won't.
Sure to goodness, Margaret, I will leave you alone to do that.
Not you.
Yes.
I think if you won't be able.
I want you see, to do everything exquisitely. I do wish I could leave you to do things a little more for yourself. I suppose it's owing to my having had to be father and mother both. I knew nothing practically about bringing up of children, and of course I couldn't trust you to a nurse.
No. So sure you could do it better yourself. That's you all over, Daddy. Do you remember how you taught me to balance a biscuit on my nose like a puppy?
Did I?
Called me Rover.
I deny that.
And when you said snap, I caught the biscuit in my mouth.
Horrible.
Daddy, I can do it still.
No.
It's the last of my supper. Say snap, Daddy.
Not I.
Say snap.
I refuse.
Daddy.
Snap! Let that be the last time, Margaret.
Except just once more.
Ah.
No. But when my hair is really up, if I should ever have a Margaret of my own, come and see me, Daddy, in my white bed and say snap, and I'll have the biscuit ready.
Righto.
Dad, if I ever should marry, not that I will, but if I should, at the marriage ceremony, will you let me be the one who says I do?
I suppose I deserve this.
You think I'm pretty, don't you? Dad, whatever other people say.
Not so bad.
I know I have nice ears.
They are all right now, but I had to work on them for months.
You don't mean to say that you did my ears?
Rather.
My dimple is my own.
I am glad you think so. I wore out the point of my little finger over that dimple.
Even my dimple? Have I anything that's really mine? Bit of my nose or anything?
Oh, when you were a babe, I had a laugh that was all your own.
Haven't I got it now?
It's gone. I will tell you how it went. You were fishing in a stream. That is to say, I was wading and you were sitting on my shoulders, holding the rod. We didn't catch anything somehow or another. I can't think how I did it. You irritated me, and I answered you sharply.
I can't believe that.
Yes, it sounds extraordinary, but I did. It gave you a shock, and for the moment, the world no longer seemed a safe place to you. Your faith in me had always made it safe till then, and you were suddenly not even sure of your bread and butter, and a frightened tear came to your eyes. I was in a state about it, I can tell you.
Silly. But what has that to do with my laugh, Daddy?
The laugh that children are born with lasts just so long as they have perfect faith. I think that it was I who robbed you of yours.
Don't, dear. I'm sure the laugh just went off with the tear to comfort it. And they've been playing about that stream ever since. They've quite forgotten us. So why should we remember them? Shall I tell you my farthest back recollection? I remember the first time I saw the stars. I'd never seen night. And then I saw it. And the stars together, crack in the eye, Tommy. It isn't everyone who can boast of such a lovely, lovely recollection for their earliest, is it?
I was determined your earliest should be a good one.
Do you mean to say you planned it?
Rather, most people's earliest recollection is of some trivial thing, about how they cut their finger or lost a piece of string. I was resolved my Margaret's should be something bigger. I was poor, but I could give her the stars.
Oh, how you love me, Daddykins.
Yes, I do, rather.
Good evening.
Good evening, Missy. Evening, mister.
Lost anything?
Sometimes when the tourists have had their sandwiches, there are bits left over, and they squeeze them between the brutes to keep the place tidy. I'm looking for bits.
You don't tell me you're hungry as that.
Try me.
Daddy, that was my last biscuit.
We must think of something else.
Yes, wait a bit. Be sure to find something. Daddy, think of something.
Your father doesn't like you to touch the likes of me.
Oh, yes, he does. And if he didn't, I'd do it all the same. It's a bit of myself, Daddy.
That is all you know.
You needn't be angry with her, mister. I'm all right.
I'm not angry with her. I'm very sorry for you.
If I had my rights, I would be as good as you. And
I dare say.
I have had men servants in a motor car.
I have
Margaret.
taxi, and Dad often gets telegrams.
Margaret!
I'm sorry I boasted.
But nothing. I have a townhouse. At least I had. At any rate, he said there was a townhouse.
Fancy is not knowing for certain.
The Honorable Mrs. Finchfallow. That's who I am.
It's a lovely name.
Curse him.
Don't you like him?
We won't go into that. I have nothing to do with your past. But I wish we had some food to offer you.
You have enough a flask?
No, I don't take anything myself, but let me see.
I know. You said we had £5. Would you like £5?
Darling, don't be stupid. We haven't paid our bill at the inn.
All right. I never asked you for anything.
Don't take me up in that way. I have had my ups and downs myself. Here is 10 bob, and welcome.
And I've half a crown. It's quite easy for us, Dad. We'll be getting another £5 any day. You can't think how exciting it is when the £5 comes in, we dance, and then we run out and buy chops.
Margaret!
It's kind of you. I'm richer this minute than I have been for many a day.
It's nothing. I'm sure you would do the same for us.
I wish I was as sure.
Of course you would. Glad to be of help. Get some victuals as quickly as you can. Best of wishes, ma'am, and may your luck change.
Same to you. And may yours go on.
Good night.
What is her name, mister?
Margaret.
Margaret. You drew something good out of the lucky bag when you got her, mister.
Yes.
Take care of her. They are easily lost.
For so. I expect she has had a rough time and that some man is to blame for it, partly at any rate. That woman rather affects me, Margaret. I don't know why. Didn't you like her husky voice? I say, Margaret, we lucky ones. Let's swear always to be kind to people who are down on their luck, and when we are kind, let's be a little kinder.
Yes, let's.
Margaret, always feel sorry for the failures, the ones who are always failures, especially in my sort of calling. Wouldn't it be lovely to turn them on the 39th year of failure into glittering success?
Topping.
Topping!
Oh, topping. How could we do it, Dad?
By letter. To poor old Tom Brokenheart, Top Attic, Garrett Chambers, S.E. Dear Sir, His Majesty has been graciously pleased to purchase your superb picture of Marlow Ferry.
P.S. I'm sending the money in a sack so you can hear it chink.
What could we do for our friend who passed just now? I can't get her out of my head.
You've made me forget her. Dad, I didn't like it.
Didn't like what, dear?
Didn't like her saying that about you losing me.
I shan't lose you.
It'd be hard for me if you lost me, but it would be worse for you. I don't know how I know that, but I do know it. What would you do without me?
Don't talk like that, dear. It is wicked and stupid and naughty. Somehow that poor woman... I won't paint any more tonight.
Let's get out of the wood. It frightens me.
You loved it you loved it a moment ago. Hello! I hadn't noticed there was a house there.
Daddy, I feel there wasn't a house there.
Goose. It is just that we didn't look. Our old way of letting the world go hang, so interested in ourselves. Nice behavior for people who have been boasting about what they would do for other people. Now I see what I ought to do.
Let's get out of the wood.
Yes, but my idea first. It is to rouse these people and get food from them for the husky one.
She's too far away now.
I can overtake her.
Don't go into that house, Daddy. I don't know why it is, but I'm afraid of that house.
There is a kiss for each moment until I come back. Oh, naughty, go and stand in the corner. Who has got a nasty temper? I shall be back for you. You can count 100.
Daddy, come back. I don't want to be a might have been.
You're mute.
A pretty little room. I wonder who is the owner.
It doesn't matter. The great thing is that we've escaped Joanna.
Jack, look, a man.
Oh, he's asleep.
Do you know him?
Not I. Excuse me, sir. Hi.
Darling, how extraordinary.
After all, precious, have we the right to wake up a stranger just to tell him we are runaways hiding in his house?
I think he would expect it of us.
Oh, no, there's no budging him.
Well, at any rate, we have done the civil thing. I wonder who they are and what has spirited them away.
Perhaps they've only gone to bed. Or ought we to knock them up?
I think not, dear. I suppose we have run away, Jack. Meaning to?
irrevocably, Mabel. If the dog-like devotion of a lifetime... He's not shamming, do you think?
Shake him again.
Well, it's all right, Mabel. If the dog-like devotion of a lifetime...
Oh, poor little Joanna. Still, if a woman insists on being a pendulum around a man's neck...
Poor little Joanna. But do give me a chance, Mabel. If the dog-like devotion of a lifetime... May I say, this is just a little too much, Joanna?
So sweet, husband, your soul is still walking alone, is it?
Oh, how can you sneak about in this way, Joanna? Have you no pride?
Please to address me as Mrs. Purdy, madam. Who is this man?
We don't know, and there's no waking him. You can try if you like.
You were saying something about the devotion of a lifetime. Please, go on.
I don't like to before you, Joanna.
Don't mind me.
I should certainly like to say it.
And I shall be proud to hear it.
I should have liked to have spared you this, Joanna. You wouldn't put your hands over your ears?
No, sir.
Oh, fie, Joanna. Surely a wife's natural delicacy.
As you take it in that spirit, Joanna, I can proceed with a clear conscience. If the dog-like devotion of a lifetime...
Did he move?
It isn't that. I'm feeling very funny. Did one of you tap me just now on the forehead?
I think I have been in this room before.
Oh, there's something coming rushing back at me.
I seem to know that coffee set. If I do, the lid of the milk jug is chipped. It is.
I can't remember this man's name, but I'm sure it begins with L.
Lob.
Lob.
Lob!
Mabel, your dress.
How on earth?
My dress? You were in knickerbockers in the wood.
Well, so I am now. When did I change? The wood. Well, let me think. The wood, certainly. But the wood wasn't the wood.
Oh, my head is going around.
Lob's wood. I remember it all. We were here. We did go.
So we did. But how could... Where was...
And who was...
And what was...
Don't let go. Hold on to what we were doing or we shall lose grip of ourselves. Devotion, something about devotion. Hold on to devotion. If the dog-like devotion of a lifetime... Which of you was I saying that to?
To me.
Are you sure?
Oh, I am not quite sure.
Joanna, what do you think? Which of you is my wife?
I am. No, I am not. It is Mabel who is your wife.
Me?
Why, of course you are. Mabel.
I believe I am.
And yet how can it be? I was running away with you.
You don't need to do that now.
The wood. Hold on to the wood. The wood is what explains it. Yeah, yes, I see the whole thing. You infernal old rascal. Let me try to think it out. Don't anyone speak for a moment. Think first. Love. Hold on to love. I say, I believe I am not a deeply passionate chap at all. I believe I am just a philanderer.
It is what you are.
Mabel, what of ourselves?
I didn't know. Just a philanderer. And if people don't change, I suppose we shall begin all over again now.
I dare say, but not with each other. I may philander again, but not with you.
John Purdy. John Purdy, the fine fellow I used to think you. The wood has taught me one thing at any rate.
What, Jack?
That it isn't accident that shapes our lives.
No, it's fate.
No, it's not fate, Joanna. Fate is something outside us. What really plays the dickens with us is something in ourselves. Something that makes us go on doing the same sort of fool things, however many chances we get.
Something in ourselves?
Something we were born with.
Can't we cut out the beastly thing?
Depends. I expect on how long we have pampered him. We can at least control him if we try hard enough. But I have for a moment an abominably clear perception that the likes of me never really tries. Forgive me, Joanna. No, Mabel. Both of you. It isn't very pleasant to discover that one is a rotter. I suppose I shall get used to it.
I could forgive anybody anything tonight. It is so lovely not to be married to you, Jack.
I can understand that. I do feel small.
You will soon swell up again.
That is the appalling thing. But at present, at any rate, I am a rag at your feet, Joanna. No, at yours, Mabel. Are you going to pick me up? I don't advise it.
I don't know whether I want to, Jack. To begin with, which of us is it your lonely soul is in search of?
Which of us is the fluid one, or the fluider one?
Are you and I one? Or are you and Joanna one? Or are the three of us two?
He wants you to whisper in his ear, Mabel, the entrancing poem, Mabel Purdy. Do it, Jack. There will be nothing wrong in it now.
Rub it in.
When I meet Joanna's successor.
No, Mabel, none of that. At least credit me with having my eyes open at last. There will be no more of this. I swear by all that is.
Bah! He is off again.
Oh, Lord, so I am.
Oh, don't, Joanna.
She's quite right. I was. In my present state of depression, which won't last, I feel there is something in me that will make me go on being the same ass no matter how many chances I get. I haven't the stuff in me to take warning. My whole being is corroded. Shakespeare knew what he was talking about. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings.
And for dear Brutus, we are to read Dear Audience, I suppose?
You have it.
Meaning that we have the power to shape ourselves.
We have the power, right enough.
But isn't that rather splendid?
For those who have the grit in them, yes. And they are not the dismal chappies. They are the ones with the thin, bright faces. I'm afraid there is not much fight in me, Mabel, but we shall see. If you catch me at it again, have the goodness to whisper to me in passing, Lob's Wood. That may cure me for the time being.
Perhaps I will, as long as I care to bother, Jack. It depends on how long that is to be. It depends on you how long that is to be.
I feel that there is hope in that as well as a warning. Perhaps the wood may prove to have been useful after all. You know, we are not people worth being sorrowful about. So let us laugh. We have forgotten the others. I wonder what is happening to them.
Yes, what about them? Have they changed?
I didn't see any of them in the wood.
Perhaps we did see them without knowing them. We didn't know Lob.
That's true.
Won't it be delicious to be here to watch them when they come back and see them waking up, whatever it was we did?
What was it we did? I think something tapped me on the forehead.
How do we know that the others will come back?
We don't know. How awful.
Listen,
I distinctly hear someone on the stairs.
it will be Matey.
Be cautious, both of you. Don't tell them that we have had any odd experiences.
Oh, you're back at last. A nice house, I must say. Where is Cody?
Cody? Did he go into the wood too?
Oh, so? I've been down several times to look for him.
Cody, too.
I wonder. Oh, how dreadful.
It's dreadful, Joanna.
Nothing. I was just wondering what he is doing.
Doing? What should he be doing? Did anything odd happen to you in the wood?
No, nothing.
We just strolled about and came back. Have you noticed him?
Oh, yes, he's been like that all the time. A sort of stupor, I think, and sometimes the strangest grin comes over his face.
Grin?
Just as if he was seeing some amusing things in his sleep.
Well, I dare say he is. Oughtn't we get Matey to him?
Matey has gone too.
What?
At all events, he is not in the house.
Matey? I wonder who is with him.
Must somebody be with him?
Oh, no, not at all.
Oh, I hope it is Cody.
Oh, I hope not.
Why, Mrs. Purdy?
Dear Mrs. Cody, whoever he is and whatever he does, I beg you not to be surprised. We feel that though we had no unusual experiences in the wood, others may not have been so fortunate.
And be cautious, you dear, what you say to them before they come to.
Too? You puzzle me. And Cody doesn't have his muffler.
It is Matey.
Do come in.
With apologies, ladies and gents, may I ask who is host?
Very reasonable request. Third on the left.
Merely to ask, sir, if you can direct me to my hotel. The gentleman seems to be reposing.
It is Lob.
And what is Lob, mum?
Surely you haven't forgotten.
Anything we can do for you, sir? Just give it a name.
I hope you are not alone. Do say you have some lady friends with you.
My wife is with me.
His wife? Oh, you have been quick.
I didn't know you were married.
Why should you, madam? You talk as if you knew me.
Good gracious, do you really think I don't?
Sit down, won't you, sir, my dear sir, and make yourself comfy.
Thank you, but my wife...
Yes, bring her in. We are simply dying to make her acquaintance.
You are very good. I am much obliged.
Who can she be?
Ooh.
What an extraordinary wood. He doesn't seem to know who he is at all.
Oh, don't worry about that, Cody, darling. He will know soon enough.
And so will the little wife. By the way, whoever she is, I hope she is fond of butlers.
It is Lady Caroline.
Oh, joy, joy! And she was so sure she couldn't take the wrong turning.
May I present my wife, Lady Caroline Matey?
How do you do?
Your servant, Lady Caroline.
Lady Caroline Matey? You?
charmed, I'm sure.
Very pleased to meet any wife of Mr. Matey.
Allow me. The Duchess of Candelabra, the ladies Helena and Matilda McNabb. I am the Lord Chancellor.
I have wanted so long to make your acquaintance.
Charmed?
These informal meetings are so delightful, don't you think?
Oh, yes, indeed.
And your friend by the fire?
I will introduce you to him when you wake up. I mean, when he wakes up.
Well, perhaps I ought to have said that I am James Matey.
The James Matey?
A name not perhaps unknown in the world of finance.
Finance? Oh, so you did take that clerkship in the city?
I began as a clerk in the city, certainly, and I am not ashamed to admit it.
Let's see that now. And did it save you?
Save me, madam.
Excuse us. We ask odd questions in this house. We only mean, did that keep you honest? Or are you still a pilferer?
Husband mine, what does she mean?
Oh, no offense. I mean a pilferer on a large scale.
If you are referring to that Labrador business or the Working Women's Bank.
Oh, got him.
Yes, those are what I meant.
There was nothing proved.
Mabel, Jack, here is another of us. You have gone just the same way again, my friend. Oh, there is more in it, you see, than taking the wrong turning. You would always take the wrong turning. Tra-la-la!
If you are casting any aspersions on my husband, allow me to say that a prouder wife than I does not today exist.
Do be careful.
So long as you are satisfied, Lady Caroline. But I thought you shrank from all blood that was not blue.
You thought? Why should you think about me? I beg to assure you that I adore my Jim. Whatever are you doing, Jim?
Well, I don't understand it, Caroline. But somehow I feel at home with this in my hands.
Caroline?
Well, don't you remember me?
Well, I don't remember you, but I seem to associate you with hard-boiled eggs. You like your eggs hard-boiled?
Hold on to hard-boiled eggs. She used to tip you especially to see to them. Yes, that was the pocket.
Tip.
Funny word, isn't it?
It seems to set me thinking.
Why is my work basket in this house?
Living here, you know.
Oh, that is what a person feels. But when did I come? Oh, it is very odd. But one feels one ought to say, when did one go?
He's coming too with a wash.
Mr. Purdy?
Mrs. Cody.
The governor. My clothes.
Oh, one is in evening dress.
You will understand clearly in a minute, Caroline. You didn't really take that clerkship, Jim. You went into domestic service, but in the essentials, you haven't altered.
I'll have my shaving water at 7:30 sharp, Macy.
Yeah, very good, sir.
Sir? Midsummer Eve. The wood. Oh.
Yes, hold on to the wood.
You are Lady Caroline Laney.
It is Matey, the butler.
You seemed quite happy with him, you know, Lady Caroline.
We won't tell.
Caroline Matey? And I seem to like it.
It is rather difficult. It is really very difficult to see what we should do next.
Perhaps if I were to go downstairs.
It would be conferring a personal favor on us all.
Oh, it is all that wretch is doing.
Cody!
Cody? Why is he so happy?
Dear, hold my hand.
Won't he know me?
Mrs. Cody, I'm sorry. It didn't so much matter about the likes of us, but for your sakes, I wish Cody had not gone out.
We could have been happily married this 30 years?
May I intrude? My name is Code. The fact is, I was playing about in the wood on a whistle that I saw your light.
Playing about in the wood with a whistle?
And why not, madam?
Madam? Don't you know me?
No, I don't know you, but I wish I did.
Do you? Why?
If I may say so, you have a very soft, lovable face.
Who was with you playing whistles in the wood?
No one was with me.
No lady?
Certainly not. I'm a bachelor.
A bachelor?
Don't give way, dear. It might be much worse.
A bachelor? And are you sure you never spoke to me before? Do think.
Not to my knowledge, never. Except in dreams.
What did you say to her in dreams?
I said, my dear. Odd.
A darling man.
Could you say such things to an old woman?
Old? I didn't think of you as old. No, young, with the morning dew on your face, coming across a lawn, in a black and green dress, and carrying such a pretty parasol.
That was how he first met me. He used to love me in black and green, and it was a pretty parasol. Look, I am old, so it can't be the same woman.
Old? Yes, I suppose so. But it is the same soft, lovable face, the same kind, beaming smile the children could warm their hands at.
You always like my smile.
So do we all.
Emma.
Oh, he hasn't forgotten my name.
It is sad that we didn't meet long ago. I think I've been waiting for you. I suppose we have met too late. You couldn't overlook my being an old fellow, could you, eh?
How lovely. He's going to propose to her again. Cody, you happy thing. He is wanting the same soft face after 30 years.
We mustn't be too sure, but I think that is it. What is actually what you want, Mr. Code?
I want to have the right to hold the parasol over you. Won't you be my wife, my dear? And so give me a long dream of you a happy ending?
Kisses are not called for at our age, Cody, but here's a muffler for your old neck.
My muffler. I have missed it. Why, what, who, how is this?
He's coming too.
Lob. Bless me, Cody. I went into that wood.
Without your muffler, you are so subject to chills. What are you feeling for in your pocket?
The whistle. It was a whistle. Gone. Of course it is. It's rather a pity, but have I been saying awful things to you?
You have been making her so proud. It is a compliment to our whole sex. You had a second chance, and it is her again.
Of course it is. Oh, but I say I was just the same nice old lazy Cody as before. I had thought that if I had a second chance, I could do things. I've often said to you, Cody, that it was owing to my being cursed with a competency that I didn't write my great book. But I had no competency this time, and I haven't written a word.
That needn't make you feel lonely in this house.
Seem to have been quite happy as an old bachelor, dear.
I'm surprised at myself, Emma, but I fear I was.
I wonder if what it means is that you don't especially need even me. I wonder if it means that you're just the sort of amiable creature that would be happy anywhere and anyhow.
Oh dear, can it be as bad as that?
Certainly not. It is a romance, and I won't have it looked upon as anything else.
Thank you, Joanna. You will try not to miss that whistle, Cody.
You are all I need.
Yes, but I'm not so sure as I used to be that it is a great compliment.
Cody, behave.
Mr. Diarth. Mrs. Diarth, she's alone. Who would have expected that of her?
She is a wild one, Jack, but I sometimes thought rather a dear. I do hope she has got off cheaply.
Pleased to see you, stranger.
I was afraid such an unceremonious entry might startle you.
Not a bit.
I usually enter a house by the front door.
I have heard that such is the swagger way.
So stupid of me. I lost myself in the wood and...
Of course you did. But never mind that. Do tell us your name.
Yes, yes, your name.
Of course. I am the Honourable Mrs. Finchfallow.
Of course, of course.
I hope Mr. Finchfallow is very well. We don't know him personally, but may we have the pleasure of seeing him bob up presently?
No, I'm not sure where he is.
I wonder if the dear, clever police know.
No, they don't. So awkward. I gave my sandwiches to a poor girl and her father whom I met in the wood, and now, isn't it a nuisance? I am quite hungry. May I?
Poor soul.
We're so anxious to know whether you met a friend of ours in the wood. Mr. Diarth? Perhaps you know him too?
Diarth? I don't know any Diarth.
Oh, what a wood!
He's quite a front door sort of man. Knocks and rings, you know.
Don't worry her.
I meet so many. You see, I go out a great deal. I have visiting cards, printed ones.
You are very distingué. Perhaps Mr. Diarth has painted your portrait. He is an artist.
Very likely. They all want to paint me. I dare say that is the man to whom I gave my sandwiches.
I thought you said he had a daughter.
Such a pretty girl. I gave her £50.
A daughter? That can't be Dirth.
Oh, don't be so sure. Was the man you speak of rather chop-fallen, gone to seed sort of person?
No, I thought him such a jolly, attractive man.
Jolly? Attractive? Oh, no. Did he say anything about his wife?
Yes, do try to remember if he mentioned her.
No, he didn't.
He was far from jolly in her time.
Perhaps that was the lady's fault.
Dirth's voice. Sounds quite merry.
You poor thing.
Well, this is going to be horrible.
Oh, I'm sorry to bounce in on you this way, but really, I have an excuse. I'm a painter of sorts, and...
Oh, I must say, Mr. Dirth, I'm delighted to see you looking so well. Like a new man, isn't he?
I am certainly very well, if you care to know. But, did I tell you my name?
No, but we have an instinct in this house.
Well, It doesn't matter. Here's the situation. My daughter and I have just met in the wood a poor woman famishing for want of food. We were as happy as grigs ourselves at the sight of her distress, rather cut us up. Can you give me something for her? Why are you looking so startled? Ah, may I have this? I feel I can't be mistaken, as it was you I met in the wood. Have you been playing some trick on me? It was for her I wanted the food.
Have you come to take back the money you gave me?
Your dress? You were almost in rags when I saw you outside.
I don't understand.
For that matter, Dirth, I dare say you were different in the wood too.
What?
Where am I? I seem to know you, do I?
You do? Hold my hand and you will soon remember all about it.
I am afraid, Mrs. Diath, it is harder for you than for the rest of us.
I wish I could help you, but I can't. I'm a rotter.
We are awfully sorry. Don't you remember Midsummer Eve?
Midsummer Eve? This room? Yes. This room. You. It was you? We were going out to look for something. The Tree of Knowledge, wasn't it? Somebody wanted to go too. Who was that? A lady, I think. Why did she ask me to go? What was I doing here? I was smoking a cigar. I laid it down there. Who was this lady?
Something about a second chance.
Yes, you poor dear, you thought you could make so much of it.
A lady who didn't like me. She had good reasons too. What were they?
A little old man. He did it. What did he do?
It's coming back. I'm not the man I thought myself.
I am not Mrs. Finch Fallow. Who am I?
You were that lady.
It is you, my husband.
My dear, you are so much better off, as far as I can see, than if you were Mrs. Finch Fallow.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. But he isn't.
Alice! I didn't know you when I was in the wood with Margaret. She... Margaret! Oh my God!
I wish.
You old ruffian.
No. I am rather fond of him. Our lonely, friendly little host, Lob. I thank thee for that hour.
Oh, did you see that his hand is shaking again?
The watery eye has come back.
And yet they are both quite nice people.
We are all quite nice people.
Oh, if she were not such a savage.
I dare say there's nothing the matter with her except that she would always choose the wrong man. Good man or bad man, but the wrong man for her.
We can't change.
Jack says the brave ones can.
The ones with the thin, bright faces.
Then there is hope for you and me, Jack.
I don't expect so.
Hadn't we better go to bed? It must be getting late.
Hold on to bed.
My watch has stopped.
And mine. Just as well, perhaps.
There is the smell of coffee.
Come along, Cody. I do hope you have not been long tiring your foot.
You'll give it a good rest tomorrow, dear.
I have given your egg 6 minutes, Mum.
A strange experiment, matey. Does it ever have any permanent effect?
So far as I know, not often, miss, but I believe once in a while. He could tell you.
Curtain.
And the lark is rising. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Thank you.
It's an
Stephen.
interesting play, isn't it? It's both dated and yet remarkably modern in its outlook.
Sorry?
I said it's both very dated, but also very modern in its outlook.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was a wonderful play. Thank you, Stephen, for bringing it into my world.
Well, what I would suggest you do now is go back and reread Peter Pan.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was saying to David Sita the other day that, or it may have been actually may have been the other David, but when I was a kid, started working in the theatre, and Peter Pan was around most Christmas times. One of the questions that we were always asked, especially as a student, is who is the villain in Peter Pan?
Yeah.
The answer, the real answer, if you think about it, is Peter.
Peter Pan himself? That's interesting.
Rather depends on your point of view, though, doesn't it?
Well, of course, it depends upon your point of view, but that's when you think about it. But don't you think that the crime, and I think I'm applying it to this play as well, the crime is not wanting to grow up.
But it's not a crime.
I don't mean necessarily the crime, but the bad thing is that he
The
just
mistake.
No, I
Well,
think
it
it's more
also-
deliberate than that, don't you?
But if that's a crime, of course, there are many of us guilty of us and ought to be in.
Yeah.
That's why he wrote the play.
Artists.
Also,
Artists.
Oh, I don't know. I spent a lot of my childhood I couldn't wait to grow up.
Peter does.
I read the novel when I was in 6th grade, and the only line I ever remembered from it, I loved it. But at the end of the chapter, after the darlings, the first chapter, after the darlings have left, the line it reads, "The little star in the universe cried out, 'Now, Peter.'" Why I remember that line after so many years.
Oh, my favorite line is always Wendy, about 2/3 of the way through the play, suddenly says, "Oh, we need to be getting home. Mother will be in half mourning by now."
Well, I mean, don't you think the real crime is stealing the children from their loving parents? I mean, that's what Peter does. I mean, in a way.
But that still makes him the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Peter Pan syndrome only applies to men, basically.
That's because men wrote it.
He was a very interesting man in very many ways. I mean, but definitely, he's worth reading up about. And there was, I don't know if you remember, you've ever seen, there was a documentary. I think it was in 1969, and it was shown on television in Britain. And it was a year in the life of the Queen, Elizabeth II. And one of the things that she did was where they filmed her was that she was showing some guests at Windsor into the library. Angus, do you remember the film?
I don't think I ever saw it.
It was made for the ITV. Anyway, what happened was they were going around the library, and then one of the things they had opened there was a signed first edition of the play script for Peter Pan. And the Queen goes up to this, and she picks it up and she's looking through it, and she said, she was telling the guests, she said that her grandmother, Queen Mary, had taken her and her sister, Princess Margaret, to see Peter Pan, when they were children, probably in the mid-1930s. And she said, and then we went backstage afterwards and we were introduced to the cast and we were introduced to the author. And there was a slight pause, and then the Queen said, "Such a strange little man." And I do really recommend the book, sort of the J.M. Barrie and the Lost Boys. It's subtitled "The Love Story That Created Peter Pan," because it makes very interesting reading, and then you come at the play in a completely different way. But again, it does apply to this play as well.
You're also dealing with a very different world when you think at the same time as this, 1911 through 60 through 1450, the Actresses Franchise League and the suffragettes were writing plays bemoaning the fate of women and complaining about sexual harassment in the workplace of women, all the things that then got buried until the Me Too movement came up. That there was an extraordinary agitprop movement from the AFL and the Writers Guild, both here and in the States. A lot of the contributors to the plays that the AFL was doing were American. Totally different world. None of this philosophical bullshit. It was, stop locking up women, stop putting them in little boxes and making them wash clothes and the rest of it. Give them a life, treat them with respect. Sorry, I think,
well, this play is partly about that, in the sense that it's about reality versus, turning into your and living your own fantasy.
Yeah.
I do think the reality obviously is, upper class, or certainly upper middle class reality. It's not the reality you're talking about, but it's still about the clash between the two.
But still, women are given very few options in this play. They're rather limited.
Yeah. I'm in the process of putting together the suffragette plays into a couple of reading sessions.
Oh, yay.
And I'll get them to you.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
By the way, if anybody, there's a set, Helen Mirren BBC set, and it includes her in a TV version of another play by Barrie called The Little Minister. She's absolutely charming in it, and if you ever get a hold of it, it's a very different Helen Mirren from what we usually think of in latter days.
It's a very interesting set. Unfortunately, I tried to get a copy of it, and the DVDs are all screwed up, so not all of them are playable in the United States. So be very careful. Yeah. Anyway, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this evening.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. Great work, everyone. And
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, it's amazing.
There you are.
Great read.
So interesting. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a great holiday.